sunny day. Close my eyes, watch it all fade away. If you know where the blood's coming from, please let me know. I was never afraid until it was my time to go. It's my cloudy, sunny day. Close my eyes, watch it all fade away. Don't you worry if it all feels the same. Just keep trying, you'll know when it changes. It's your cloudy, sunny day. Close your eyes, watch it all fade away.
Oh, I didn't choose to be the front person. Man, perfect timing. They probably just came in as soon as I said, I didn't choose to be the front person. We're
The
live.
song was over. I had to switch.
Couldn't have any silence.
You did
I
your
didn't
job.
want any silence. That's all I have to do, right? I'm
You
done.
did your job.
Can I go?
No, you have to press the buttons. Which for the
Yeah, because none of us know what those colors mean.
It's that if you on the screen it says what it does.
Can't see that.
Yeah, but if you sit here, then you could see what it does.
you do have your glasses on.
That's true.
Yeah.
Adam
that-
cannot drive if he does not have those glasses.
Can
Yeah,
you-
this isn't.
What
a
about
big
you
thing.
guys?
That's a long-standing thing.
What about you, Hagen?
What?
Can you drive without those glasses?
I mean, technically, but it's not great.
What about you, unintroduced guest? Can you?
Same. Not great.
Okay.
Yeah, the
But
whole thing is
not the
probably
end of the world.
Probably not legal.
Okay.
Not
2020.
legal.
Yeah,
For
2020 vision over here, guys.
must be nice.
Sure.
You guys can borrow them.
Let's give it up for Jackson 2020 Vision, everybody. Morning. Welcome to Don't Be the Artist. I'm Hagen.
Adam.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I'm Jackson,
I'm Mike.
aka New Dave.
New Dave.
New Dave.
New Dave. New Dave.
I hope
New
Dave's
Dave.
not listening. Because that's the type of thing where if I was listening on my own in like a hotel room in, let's just say, Sweetwater, Texas, I would be.
I thought you were gonna say where Dave is right now.
I thought that's what you were saying.
I'm gonna be
Why
honest,
is
I
that
don't
so
know where
weird?
Dave
I
is.
mean, hopefully he's not there.
Yeah, hopefully
On
not.
purpose.
For Dave's sake, I hope you're not in Sweetwater, Texas. But yeah, that's the kind of thing where if I was just at a hotel room traveling for work or something, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna tune in. That would upset me. Like, not in a like an actual like oh hurt feelings, but in like a fuck, that sucks. So Dave, we got a new Dave.
Yeah. How do you spin this?
Yeah. So how's everyone doing? It's hot here in Texas. Is it
Yeah.
officially 90 degrees out?
Yeah, it was 90.
Yeah, it
It was
was.
93 today, right?
Sucks.
93.
Yeah, wasn't that the high today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Not ready.
Yeah. Well, Hagen had an outdoor show Saturday.
2 outdoor shows.
Oh shit. Well, one of those doesn't count for what I'm referring to.
Sure, yeah.
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
played 2 shows on Saturday.
Yeah.
One of them was like from 4 to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Full daylight, and that's like I think 3 or 2 p.m. is the hottest part of the day, right?
Yeah,
sure.
we were right around like it was like 73 we played or something like that.
And like there was your family who my partner and I went to go sit with, and there were umbrellas, so luckily that was nice. But it was like full blast in heat, and there were like all of us were complaining about that. And then I was like, hey, let's guess what the temperature is right now. All of us went around, and like most people were saying like, it's got to be like 85 or something like that. And then I looked at it, I was like, guys, it's like 76.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah.
I feel like a baby, but it sucks.
I mean, it's been like 50 degrees the last couple weeks, off and on. So
Yeah, I mean
I
it's
think we're not used to it being so warm quite so quickly.
Well, we talked about it when we went to Oklahoma.
yeah. Well, and also the other thing I feel is like I feel like a lot of weekends were really rainy. Like I feel like there was
Yeah,
a
that's
lot of rain that happened this year.
Yeah, but we really needed it. When I moved here, this was all fields.
I pressed the buttons.
Yeah, you do. You really pushed my buttons, man.
Fuck yeah, I did it.
Yeah. So it's fucking hot. Adam's wearing shorts. That's how
Yeah.
you know it's hot.
I don't know. I don't like it.
He's our groundhog. Yeah, that's how you know.
Now it's summer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No more pants.
officially.
Yeah. Typically it's sandals as well, but I guess that's not very professional.
It's not that warm.
I'm still wearing socks. Do you wear socks with your sandals?
No.
Okay, good. What about socks with your Crocs?
Does anyone here own Crocs?
No.
No.
Oh,
So-
okay.
They float. They're like an engineering marvel.
But you don't own
lose
them.
them in the ocean
That is
and
pretty true though.
What?
they just float.
What? But you don't own them?
No, I
It sounds
don't.
like he owns a pair.
I
think-
live with someone who owns multiple pairs.
I like how you. I like
that's
how.
same here.
I like how Crocs have like stickers.
like heel.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not what they're
You
called.
can,
They're called gibbets.
Accessorize.
but it, people,
Gibbets?
yeah, they're called gibbets. Yeah.
With a
My-
G or a J?
Jay? Good question.
Oh.
Coming in hot.
New
J.
New Dave.
Oh. Any guesses? So it is with a J. Any guesses, Mike, how it's actually spelled?
Gibbet. JIBBIT. Gibbet.
And there's a Z at the end, but I'll give him that. I'll give him that. That's
You're
it.
supposed to know there's a Z.
I feel like I said gibbets, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I didn't expect
I
there
was
to be
saying
two
singular.
G's.
Did you say gibbets?
I don't know. Gibbet Zed?
Gibbet said.
That's Dave's thing. I like how new Dave doesn't say Zed.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, that's helpful.
are there any other ones?
He doesn't say a.
Cross.
Sorry.
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 Dogs.
That's,
yeah. It's gonna be great when we get to what
Oh,
we're listening
shit.
to. And he says he's listening to Dawes. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
look who's in the chat. It's part of Dave's family.
Is it? I was gonna say, is it old Dave?
To know.
Actually,
Well,
I've never asked. Is
right,
that
I
old
guess.
Dave or
Yeah.
I guess so.
one of
Old
Dave's
Dave's-
brothers is in the chat?
Our
That's the
old
joke.
Dave. Our old Dave is the youngest Dave for the family, but he's old Dave to us because he's older than all of us.
Dude, this is harder than engineering school.
Yeah, I'm already very lost.
I'm lost. What's
Well-
the family tree here?
Well, Mike, you've been welcomed to Dave's family from his brother.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, get
a
that
great
dual
opportunity.
citizenship, free
Fantastic.
healthcare,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards. That's what it's all about.
I love it.
Yeah, so we're here. We're hot. We got Dave is out of town, as we mentioned. Dave will be back. He's not actually gone. But Mike, you're here. Let's see. I was about to do this whole like introduction, but like you play music around town.
I do.
Yeah, here in
Yeah.
Denton, you play guitar and then you also sing. Would you call yourself a guitarist or a singer
Would
first?
you call yourself a musician?
Where do you land on that spectrum?
Yeah, guitarist. I still have a hard time trying to call myself anything else in terms of musicianship.
You're a John Mayer
I
type.
do sing, and often, and most of the time I have a gig, it involves singing, which is still weird to me.
But you also play drums too.
I do play drums. Drums
Is
were
that
my first
so?
instrument,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I started as a drummer.
That's very cool.
He's got a mad traditional grip.
Ooh.
So I
Cool.
hear. I don't know.
So I'm alluding to. So your main project that I'm aware of is Edgar Derby,
That's right.
and that's a band, but it is also a moniker that you go under.
It is.
Yeah,
Nice. I like that.
yeah.
Yeah. So I take Edgar Derby as the pseudonym, moniker, stage name,
Mhm.
however you want to refer to that. And that is my main project. It's more of a singer-songwriter type thing than like guitar playing. So kind of my natural habitat is playing electric guitar.
So you have on everything that I've seen, you guys label yourself as, and I don't know if you've just not looked at this in a while, but hobo folk.
Yeah.
Okay, you still stand by that?
Hobo folk, art folk, art rock. It's evolved into this thing that's kind of, it's hard to describe it, which I think is a good thing.
Right.
The hobo folk thing was something I'd seen stuff like Shaky Graves described as, which when we started was kind of where it lived,
Mhm.
was the closest analogous thing, I guess. So that's kind of why I went with that.
I didn't
You're-
know if it was something that, so like with our band moniker,
Mm-hmm.
there was always this, or when you're booking early shows, I don't know if we've ever mentioned this, but there's always this, whether you're just talking to your parents, friends, family, or if you're talking to a promoter and you don't have any like release music, they're like, okay, well, what's your genre?
Right.
It was always difficult for us, and I'm not saying like, oh, we're so out there, but it's always one of those things where like you always worried, because I would immediately say like that people would see in my face that kind of like the deer in headlights, and then they would say, okay, who do you sound like? And I was like, well, that's an even worse question, because if I say like, oh, I want to sound like Modest Mouse, your expectations might be up here, or they might be down here,
Right.
and it's like, oh, well, I've already lost. I'm not going to tell you like, oh, I like Radiohead because I don't sound like them.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if hobo folk was one of those like kind of like don't ask me.
It's, well, I kind of think it's important
Mhm.
to have an answer for that, and we're kind of in that same boat where it's like the thing we're doing, it's weird, and so getting that question a lot, I do think it's important to have something that you're gonna come back with. So I don't know, wasn't necessarily a ton of thought put into that, but it kind of worked, and
It's intriguing
it answers the question,
It
and
does.
people are like, oh, okay.
because
hobo folk.
if you were to say hobo folk to me and without hearing you guys, even though we played many a shows with
Sure.
you guys and I know you well, I would immediately start thinking, okay, it's probably a lot of like wooden instruments, and what I mean by that is like acoustic, like of course you're playing electric, but I would think like banjo, stuff like that, and that is stuff that you play.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's I don't know if you intended this, but you're in a power trio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. We're in a power trio.
Whoa!
I'm the weakest link of it, but like it's powerful.
Yeah.
Whoa! That's
Yeah.
crazy. I wouldn't say the weakest link of it.
I think so. Did you intend to be on like to make it a trio, or is that just like a hey, this is like the minimum I need, and then you realize like, oh shit, this works.
It's kind of that.
Yeah.
And lately, we do add in a fourth voice, seat, chair, whatever you want to call it, a lot of the time. And as the music evolves, there's kind of more layers that I'd like to have happen during the live show. But I think at its core, it feels maybe the most right at times as the power trio. Even if it's like, oh, I wish we could have that guitar solo, because when we're doing the trio, I'm playing a resonator, and it's sort of a fingerstyle-y thing.
And that the resonator is the like pan looking guitar, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm real bad with gear.
No,
so,
no,
like,
you're good. The guitar I'm playing now is called a National Resoelectric, so it's sort of a hybrid between a resonator and an electric guitar, and it's pretty cool, and it's like exactly the Edgar Derby thing.
Yeah.
But it's in an alternate tuning. You can't really go and play a shredding guitar solo on this thing, and look it up if you're at home listening to this. You see it, get one look at it, and you'll understand. Oh yeah, that's not like guitar solo guitar. So lately we do add in the electric guitar sometimes as a fourth seat, and it feels more complete in some ways. But also when it's the power trio, you have this freedom to kind of take the song wherever you want to, and there's only two guys that have to come with you. If you deviate or you lengthen a section, or some sort of improvisatory element comes into it, it's a little more freeing that way.
Yeah.
It's a little more raw that way.
Your bassist, I mean, every time I've seen him play, he plays like, what is that style of bass? Hagen, do you know what that would be?
The uke bass.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, uke bass or U bass.
One of you guys explain what I'm talking about.
I
Once
want to
again,
hear
I'm not
you
a gear
explain
guy.
this. Yeah.
I mean, as far as I know.
Wait, can Adam do it?
Adam, what's a uke bass?
Does that have anything to do with a ukulele?
Yeah,
Wow,
as
that's
far as I know.
expensive, Adam. Can't say
That's
that.
all I got.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, it's like a very short scale bass, a ukulele like kind of size. I don't know the tuning though. I don't know if it's tuned to bass tuning or if it's closer to like a ukulele tuning.
Yeah, it's tuned to standard bass tuning,
Okay.
even same pitch class,
Uh-huh.
all the way down.
Yeah.
But it's about yay big.
Yeah.
And the strings are, it's more like surgical tubing than guitar strings. They're like
Interesting.
rubbery, plasticky.
Yeah.
And so
Kind of like a nylon string
yeah,
ish.
yeah. And so you get this like
I never want to touch this thing.
all, you really don't. And the one that Killian, my bass player, has is fretless also.
Mm.
It's an abomination.
Let's
right?
make this all so difficult.
Yeah, but the what you get out of this thing is like it almost sounds like a stand-up upright bass.
Yeah.
Almost everyone. Don't come at me. Almost.
Wow, New
It's-
Dave knows a
it's
lot
not.
about uke bass.
Oh, I have to. It's our thing. So you get this like almost upright sound, but it's not.
Yeah.
And you have this. You can have this dexterous thing because it's so short scale. You can play more run type stuff than you could on an actual upright. So it's a very unique thing, and again, it goes with the kind of folky nature.
Yeah, well,
It's
and
the kind of the fundamental thing that we're working with.
I wanted to ask that, was that part of like whenever you guys were getting together as the group, was there like a discussion to do that, or did he just already play that?
Yeah, so the way that the first record came about, I wrote all the songs and recorded them before I even had the band together, so kind of worked that one in reverse. And I used the U bass on the recordings. And it kind of, a bass player I had been working with when I was writing the music had one of these laying around, and she let me borrow it, and it was like, it fit in perfectly to the material. And so it was like, okay, this is the thing. Plus, I'm not really a bass player.
I was about
And
to
so,
ask that.
Yeah, I can play bass, and I have at times, but like, I'm not a bass player, I'm a guitar player.
I bought a
And-
baritone guitar for this exact reason,
Yeah.
to avoid learning a bass.
Right, it's, nobody hates anything more than a guitar player trying to play bass. Like,
Right.
Well, a guitar player going, oh, this isn't so hard.
Right.
And I hate that.
Same thing.
Let's talk about that a little bit real quick. That's a huge thing that I feel like people, I'll jam with people, jam, quote unquote. I don't jam. And they'll like hand me a bass and we'll try and do like, instrument swaps, all that kind of stuff. And they'll hand me a bass and I'll just tell them like, hey, just FYI, like I'm going to be sticking to root notes. I'm not comfortable on this instrument. And they're like, what? It's the same thing, just less strings. I was like, what the fuck, dude? You're a bassist. You shouldn't be saying that.
Yeah, false.
Yeah.
It's so like a great bass player is so underrated. I think people understand a great guitarist, a great singer, a great drummer, but like I don't think the general public really. Man, why are we talking about this when there's no bassist in here? But like
Yeah.
it's super underrated, and
It is.
yeah, like there are those people like who will play on like a Michael Jackson record or something like that where they're playing really straight and people are like, oh yeah, well that's super easy. And I was like, no, like you don't understand, like what they're doing is actually like perfect.
Yeah.
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 And so having this U bass really kind of let me fudge all of those sort of details,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just the unique thing that I could handle, I could play, and it not just that, like I wasn't forcing it in. That's the whole thing. It's like it was the right sound, it was the right timbre, everything was derby about it, if you will, and that's kind of back then when I first wrote the songs. Trying to cultivate like what the sound was very important,
Yeah.
and to the point where I went to the studio and I was adamant almost that there would be no electric instruments, like all acoustic stuff, resonators,
All,
banjos,
like, mic'd up.
U bass, yeah. My producer very wisely talked me out of that, absolute kind of stance, and there's plenty of electronic stuff or electric stuff.
And we're talking about like the first record,
The
right?
first record,
Which
yes.
I'm gonna just so everyone on the stream can see. Got a copy of right here. I'm hiding the cover a little bit. It's Who We Are, 2017, right?
Correct.
So yeah, there is like one song on here. I forget which one it is, but like it comes in with like electronic drums.
Yeah.
And like that, like I didn't expect it, knowing your music.
Right.
And like as soon as it hits in, I was just like, oh, what a good use of electronic like drums. I don't know
Right.
if it was like programmed or like played, but like I don't know if that was you or the producer.
It was 100% of the producer.
Good on them.
Yeah.
Good on you
Yeah,
for
so-
listening too.
So my producer Ben Jackson, he runs a studio called the East End Studio in Nashville, and that's where we made both of our records actually. And I was adamant, all acoustic drums, and it to the point of like some of it I want to be just like thigh slaps and claps, not even instruments, just like
Washboards.
yeah, that was the vibe that I was
Yeah.
really trying to strive for. And so he did all the percussion. He's a drummer, and so he came out with that one, and he was like, "Don't kill me, give it a chance. If you hate it, we'll explore something else." But he sent it over, and like the first listen, I was like, "Yeah, that's the
Wait,
right thing."
So he did it kind of behind your back.
Yeah.
Man, I love it when producers do that.
That's
Yeah.
We had that
one way
once.
to get that done, though. Sometimes.
We
Yeah,
had that once. We recorded a song, and then like I went back to the hotel, went to bed, came back the next morning when we said we were gonna start, and like the guy turns around like in like a throne chair basically, and he goes, "So, give me a chance. I got really high and just kept working last night. I just kept going. I did some weird shit to that song we worked on yesterday. I was like, play it." And I was like, man, you should do that more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an important dynamic that you should have with a producer.
Yeah.
Is the trust factor to at least let them try some stuff.
They're involved.
Yeah, and he knew. I mean, me and Ben go way back, so he knew it was fine for him to do this. And I mean, I don't know if behind the back is the right phrase because he was working on all the percussion parts.
Yeah, I
sort of
apologize, Ben.
separate.
I wasn't trying to say that you're skeevy.
But yeah, like he knew it wasn't what I was asking for, but that it felt right for the tune.
Mhm.
So in service to the music, he tried it, and it is all programmed, by the way. And he's a genius with that sort of stuff. And yeah, one listen, I was like, yeah, that's amazing. We're going with that. And so that is the one spot where there's programmed anything, really.
So one thing you touched on a little bit, the project is Edgar Derby, and so when you were conceptualizing this, even before we started the show,
Mhm.
we all asked you like, hey, because we know you on a personal level, but then
Right.
also on that professional level of, hey, what before we record, do you want to go by Mike? Do you want to go by Edgar?
Right.
What is it?
Right.
So that was one thing that I definitely, with your permission, wanted to ask about the why is there the like I don't know if shroud is the right word of going under Edgar Derby. Is it kind of like we've kind of loosely touched on this, like like David Bowie kind of does it,
Yeah.
and there's like people like Robert Smith who like the Robert Smith that we see on stage is way different than who he probably is on in person.
For sure.
So like what was the onus behind that?
Yeah, it's important to the project. The music, the whole thing really is sort of like, I say it this way usually when I'm trying to explain this. Most people are familiar with the concept of like a concept album. This is like a concept project.
Yeah.
So everything about the project, from not just the music and the cover art and the lyrics, but even the onstage persona, the costumes that we wear. I have a whole Edgar suit, as I call it.
Well, I didn't realize this. What's the Edgar suit?
Whatever you see me wearing.
Okay.
When we're on stage. Yeah, so there's
I'm gonna start paying
specifically
attention.
the hat.
Usually like a tank top too, right? Or is that like
Yeah,
like
usually
that white shirt?
usually
yeah.
a tank top or a flannel.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, that's
it's
right, yeah.
only ever those two things. There's no brand names in the clothing we're wearing. So
Yeah.
it's really we're going for sort of a period piece.
Mhm.
And here lately, it's kind of coming all the way into fruition where it's quasi theatrical to the point of like we're thinking about, is this just a rock show? Are we trying to blur some lines between like theatrical stuff and going to see a rock show? Kind of it goes all the way that far down, so that like Edgar Derby character is more than just the name. It's like Mike doesn't sing those songs, Edgar does.
Well, and I wanted to ask you similarly about the kind of lyrics. So, as I keep mentioning, I keep wanting to talk about myself, if you can't tell. But like, whenever I write songs as a lyricist, it is just like I'm pulling out of the ether kind of type of thing. I'm like, oh, I'm feeling this way in this moment. Or I was listening to a song and I was like, oh, I get the vibe of this song. What would I do in this same kind of like, I guess, setting?
Yeah.
I don't get that vibe from you. I get that like it's very intentional. That like it feels like you're in the folk sense telling a story, and much more intentional. Is that accurate, or am I giving you more
like,
credit than you're worth?
No. No, you're not. It actually brings me great joy to hear you say something like that, because that's exactly what we're striving for with this. It's meant to be more like reading a novel.
Mhm.
So it's meant to be consumed from cover to cover. I'm not just saying you have to go listen, yeah, it's that could be a clever way of just go on Spotify, you have to listen to the whole thing.
You have to buy the vinyl.
But you kind of truly do. And the thing is, there's references between songs, lyrics will come back, imagery is used all the way through. And if you start at the beginning of the first record and go all the way through the end of the second, I would hope you could see some through plot.
Mhm.
Now it's still kind of abstract, it's still music, it's not a novel, but there are definite, like, very well defined themes that are running throughout. At least that's the hope, that some of that is coming across.
Yeah.
So every little bit about it, even the artwork and stuff, there's like Easter eggs all over the place.
Speaking of Easter eggs, there's the Hagen. I'm gonna let you tell this story.
Oh, I know this one.
Yeah, so I had bought the vinyl from you, listened to
The
it.
newest record.
Yeah, the newest record, and had listened to it and had a fucking panic attack because the very end has this thing repeating, and I could not figure out what it was.
And they call that an infinite loop at like the vinyl.
Yeah.
Like so it doesn't scratch the label,
It
right?
spins into like a circle that
The
you
runout
can
groove.
run.
Yeah.
Runout groove. There you go. Yeah. That's
So there's this thing that keeps playing in that infinite loop, and I could not for the life of me. I brought my wife in. I recorded and played it for people at work. I downloaded an app to play it backwards. I could not fucking figure out what it was. And I had.
It does kind of sound like it's like recorded backwards.
It 100% sounds like it's a backwards thing. I feel like maybe we shouldn't say what it is, and some people can go buy your vinyl and go listen to it. But
it's not on the streaming portion, right?
It's not.
Good call.
I
Yeah.
thought
This
about
is
it.
great.
Like
I
if
love
you
it.
go, the Beatles did this,
right.
and maybe
Who?
they were the first, maybe not.
Sorry.
It's this old man,
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
And so if you go listen to Sgt. Pepper on Spotify,
Mhm.
it's on there.
Oh
And
really?
they just
It was-
play it
it
like
was
10
weird.
times and it fades out.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's
that's
like
interesting.
dumb.
It kind of
Yeah,
ruins it.
it's dumb.
Yeah.
It ruins it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's checking a box. It's not getting it actually done.
Right. So it's not on the streaming, and you only hear it one if you listen to the vinyl.
Yeah.
All the way through.
It's side
Two,
B at the end.
At the
Right.
end, two, if you have a turntable that's not gonna
It's not gonna take it off.
Right,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
gotta
Right.
auto-
Yeah.
automatically.
Yeah.
You're not gonna hear it. Yeah.
So if you own the LP, and you have a record player that does that, I don't know if you can override that or something, but do it. It's
Yeah.
so funny. Like you guys did it as a sound check one time at a
Yeah.
show we played with you guys, and I don't think we're gonna be stepping on any toes here, but that sound guy took forever. Like you guys had done your job, that guy was taking a long time. So I think you guys and it's like that loop. It's what, like 5 seconds maybe?
Well, the loop on the record is 1.3 seconds.
Okay, so it's 1.3 seconds.
But
the
song, it
It's a
goes
full
more
song.
than that, yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But
'cause
the
I do
song is
remember
also a loop,
Yeah.
which is maybe 30 seconds.
that. Okay, so you guys did this 30 seconds loop. By the way, beautiful to have that as like a sound check
I
because
love
like
it.
we're constantly like before a sound check, somebody will say, "Hey, run like a minute of a song," and we're all, like deer in headlights, like,
Yeah.
what song? We didn't. I don't
Well,
know.
you don't tend to want to do that, I would think, because then the audience is like, oh, they're starting.
Yeah, they
Oh,
get
When you
confused.
when you do line checks, I try to avoid any possible like full band sound
Right,
check
something
and
that
just go.
sounds like a full band.
Yeah, I'm like, can we just start and we'll just fix it as we go? Because I don't really want to do
Right.
like this false start bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys did
You
that.
get a
This-
little applause.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's not the whole thing. So you guys did 30 seconds, but I feel like you did it for maybe 10 minutes.
It was a long time.
And it started
And
to
we
feel
just
that
started
way.
laughing because you engage people with this and they're like, oh, that's weird. It's the same thing over and over. And then you lose them, right? But it
Yeah.
went so long,
And you
people
guys
were
were
like,
the opener,
they're
too.
still doing?
Maybe this is the whole set.
Yeah, it was wild. and
Genius.
we were just cracking up there.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Hagen and I, this was after Hagen had this whole saga. So when you started playing it, Hagen and I were like, yeah!
Yeah.
Because I have the vinyl too, because Hagen like told me, he said, have you noticed this? And I was like, no, I don't think I have. And then I went back and did it. I was like, oh, that's great. That's amazing. And then you did this at the show, and we were just like back there. It was like
Which
cheering for
confuses
the
people
team.
even more.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, but they know this one?
Yeah.
Popular
This is a
song.
fan favorite.
Just beautiful. So, yeah, no spoilers here. Go buy the record. If your friend has the record, if you have the record, make sure you listen to it. It was just like that was the ending of that like chapter for us. I was just like, it's not gonna get much better than that.
Yeah.
Now every time that record ends, I'm just like pleasantly reminded of that night. Man.
I'm so glad it landed, and it was kind of a to-do to get that on the record even.
Yeah.
I mean, not really, but I was so adamant about it that I think I perceived it as like, oh, no one's gonna want to do this, and I'm gonna have to
I
fight
see.
him on it.
Yeah.
In the end, it was the person who cut the vinyl for us. She was like, yeah, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, it's not something that
Like it's-
takes a lot of like extra effort.
It's
on their
really
part, right?
not.
It's just
It's
like,
really not. She was like, as long as the rest isn't any longer, you're good, because we're pushing limits on vinyl
okay.
times.
Yeah.
But I was adamant, as long as it landed for one person,
Yeah.
it was really for me. Whatever.
Which
But
at
if
the
you
end of
guys
the
can
day,
find joy in it, that's just bonus.
I think that there's
It was a mystery.
That's exactly what it's
It was, it was an escape room.
You had to figure it out.
I had to get out.
it was really like freaking you out too.
It was.
You couldn't
Yeah, he
figure
sent me
it out.
this manic text message.
What is this?
That's beautiful. Well, I got some news topics we can discuss a little bit while we're all here. Is everyone here familiar with the artist Afroman?
Yes.
Because I Got High, Colt
Oh,
45.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You know, Colt
Wasn't familiar
45,
with the name,
two
but yeah,
zigzags.
yeah.
Maybe that's all we need. I can go on if you
Okay.
want.
Yeah, please.
No, I'm good.
Damn it.
That was your TikTok clip right there, huh?
I mean, sure.
Sorry, you pressed the buttons. My bad.
I press the buttons, please.
So I don't know if you guys saw this. So Afroman is notoriously a weed smoker, and that's kind of like it's synonymous with his brand. I don't know if that's like actually who he is, but like that's synonymous with his brand. So recently, don't know if you guys have already heard about this, but he lives in, I want to say Utah, somewhere like that. You would think somewhere else.
Yeah.
But he lives in like Utah or something like that. And oh no, sorry, I have it right here in front of me. God, I'm a fucking idiot. It was the Ohio police who did this. They came into his house because he's Afro-Man, I would assume, profiling here, and they like broke down his door, like completely like were just trying to find anything they could find. They didn't find anything. They found, I think it was something like $400 in cash. And whenever they asked him like, "How'd you get this?" He's like, "I played a show." like I did my job. I can show you like the W10 or whatever, the work one. But basically, the most Afro Man thing he could do is he wrote a song about that, and it's called "Will You Help Me Repair My Door?" And he has cameras all around his house,
Yeah.
and he basically just used the footage of the raid, and that's the music video.
Oh
That's
my
pretty
god.
It went super viral, and it's hilarious. Like it's tragic because it's like it's super sad, the whole situation, but it's a great way of using his platform to be like, this is ridiculous. So there's all it's very chill, and it's just like, will you help me repair my door? Will you help me, like make my kids forget this, that kind of stuff. It's just like all that kind of shit, and it's hilarious.
My god.
It's like, did you find what you're looking for in my CD case? All that kind of stuff. And it's hilarious. You definitely go watch it. But what has happened is the Ohio police are now suing Afroman for invasion of privacy after the footage of them raiding his home was used in the music video. Isn't that just like, once again,
my
cherry on top, like
God.
sad for Afroman. Hopefully
No,
this goes
that's
nowhere.
good press.
It's
There's
fucking
There's
hilarious.
gotta be dozens of lawyers who are like, I want that case.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I adamantly, like, everyone has to go watch
Oh
that.
my god. That is crazy.
It's so fucking funny.
Holy shit.
I guess not too much talking there, but like I had to talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah.
Here's a better thing. Duolingo. Is everybody familiar with Duolingo?
Owl.
The owl does not get high, as far as I'm aware.
It kind of looks like it.
Oh shit! Shots fired. So Duolingo, the language app, language learning app. I don't know if they have other stuff. I want to say that they have like a math app or like some type of learning app, something like that. So like there's a lot of job postings that have gone up lately looking for developers who also are knowledgeable in like music theory. So there's a big like, oh, they're building a music learning app. You're a teacher, Hagen.
Uh-huh.
What do you feel about that?
I'm sure it'll be good because Duolingo's good.
I feel like linguists hate Duolingo.
I don't know about that. It just kind of depends on their approach to teaching. You can use that pretty like the tools they use for Duolingo, for like the bit that I've used it pretty efficiently for doing like intro music theory stuff, especially learning the staff, learning all that kind of stuff, learning
Yeah, I could see
rhythms.
that.
It can get a little bit tricky when it comes to like chord analysis and song analysis.
What
There's
I'm curious is like, you pick your language
Yeah.
in Duolingo. How is this going to work? Is it just going to be general music theory, or would it be kind of like, oh, I want to learn piano, and it's like, how do you do that kind of like
That would-
playback? Does a keyboard come up on screen?
That would be interesting. So I know that there are tools that exist like that where you play and then it'll like tell if you did a good job or not. Those tools really heavily rely on like good audio quality too, which is kind of a tough thing.
There's
so,
a can't listen now feature, so I wonder what they would do there. By the way,
Yeah.
all these ideas are copywritten. So Duolingo, you cannot use what I'm saying. Hire me.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to the choose language thing, they might give you options as like what instrument do you play or what are your interests, because that way they can teach you like, because there are a lot of
What kind of music is interested in
Yeah.
or something.
because they could teach you like more based on like if you are like a casual guitar player, because then they'll probably teach you stuff like slash chords instead of figured bass. But if you want to learn like traditional Western music theory, then they'll probably
What's
teach
a
you
slash chord?
like D over F sharp.
Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Oh, like that's
No.
oh shit. I hate you, new Dave. You're not nice.
New Dave.
New Dave. So, have you ever read a chord chart that says like D slash F sharp?
Yeah. Okay.
That's
okay.
a slash chord.
Got it.
So that chord
That's
is telling
where
you
I use my thumb.
exactly. Yeah, that chord is telling you the lowest note is going to be an F sharp.
Do most people use their thumbs to do that?
Sure.
No. I need an answer. Do they?
I would
You
say
can't get
I would
away.
say yes.
I would say 50-50.
Do you hate it? Hagen doesn't like it when people use their thumbs.
No, it's not that I don't like it. It's just that I feel like a lot of times it's like
it's not proper.
you can find another way. Use your thumb
Can
for
you
other
say
reasons.
this in a Jacob Collier voice? It's not proper.
Hominy.
Homina.
Hominy.
Homina.
Hominy. Hominy.
We got an email about that.
Yeah, I know. I haven't listened to it
I
yet.
did, but
I
it
saw
was-
Jacob
yeah, it was
Collier and I was like,
recording, so-
eh. Sorry,
Next week.
Chris.
Next week.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to wait for Dave to come back. That's what I should have said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So I'm currently using Duolingo right now to try and like just learn a little bit of Japanese. I don't think I'm gonna be fluent in it, but like when I do have friends who speak fluent Japanese, and I've asked them like, hey, if I wanted to go that next level, could you give me some resources? And they have, and so I have those kind of in my back pocket. I was like, hey, if I keep doing this. But what I find really nice about Duolingo is it does like it wets your whistle. If you
What's your whistle?
it wets your whistle, you know. And I just want the music app to do the same thing.
Well, there's there's a really great resource online already.
Adam's on his phone.
I was just writing down Duolingo.
Oh, I thought you were writing down what
What's your
you're
whistle?
googling what your whistle. Safe search.
There's a really great tool already called musictheory.net, but it's like
I'm looking it up.
it is a really great tool. It has a lot of great games, has a lot of great little like education pieces. I use it a lot for like to send home to my students to like, hey, if you're wanting to learn more about chord analysis, chord naming, like reading that kind of stuff, you can set your own difficulty levels and all that kind of stuff and make it really fun if you like that kind of stuff.
I have used this before. It has like the kind of like it'll give you a staff with
Yeah.
the bass clef, and then if it has sharps, flats, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and it's like, what note is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can
Cool.
you can do that as far as like what chord is this? You can do like a full chord analysis thing on there. It's a great website. So Duolingo definitely could do something along those lines and be super useful. It also could find ways to cater. I think that's a great idea. It seems like most people don't want to learn music theory in the first
But
place.
like also it's brand recognition.
Yeah.
So like
yeah.
there is me being an optimist here, there is the possibility of that. Like there might be someone who like, dude, I play like Smoke on the Water, I play Creedence Clearwater on my like fucking Les Paul at home, and that's all they know about
Yeah.
music. And then they see this, and it's like, oh, maybe I could learn how to, solo like my Ray Vons.
There are a number of those kind of people who if they are truly interested enough, will come out and be like, man, I never knew music was so hard.
See, now why do they talk like that?
Why do you think? Sorry, I guess that was mean.
No, I loved it. I had a guy at a conference once find out I play guitar, and I immediately like looked around the group. I was like, "Who the fuck told him?" I was like, I hate whoever did this. And he said like, because he lived next to the conference, and I had like traveled to it, and he like was like, "I'll bring my guitar tomorrow, and you can play during lunch." And I was like, "Don't do that. Don't. I'll be really mad if you do." I had to get candid with him, like, do not. If you do, I'm gonna make you play something. He's like, "Oh, I can play like the opening to Stairway to Heaven." I was like, "You're gonna do that."
In front of everybody.
Yeah, if you're gonna make me do this, you're gonna do that. Showing up with a practice amp.
Ugh.
We're gatekeeping here, aren't we?
Well, I will say that sounds like super cringe, but like whenever my adult students go on like work trips and they're like, I'm gonna bring my guitar, I'm like, that's actually fucking awesome. Go practice. Like, go
Sure.
practice. That's a really great idea.
I mean, if you want to do that, then good for you.
Yeah.
Everybody else may not agree. But
I've been trying to figure out how to like travel with a guitar, because I got that little like travel synthesizer, the OP1,
Yeah.
for this exact reason, to like be able to play music on the road when I'm like traveling for work.
Yeah.
But it's fun and it scratches an itch, but it doesn't wet my whistle,
Yeah.
you're not going to play that at lunch.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna play it at lunch.
I've got to fly with my cymbal bag and snare soon.
Oh, okay, shit. That like the
Oh,
way you
sorry.
said that, I was
Sorry.
just like, you've got a
No,
fly.
I've got to fly.
I
I've
was
got
like-
I've got to
like
fly.
your pants.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Mhm.
I did like as a child. I
That
remember.
sounds scary.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
my first
Yeah.
thought.
I think
You
I
gonna
can
check it. You have to.
You'd have to because of the weight, right?
You're gonna hold it.
Symbols
for it.
symbols what I'm concerned about. Snare can come with me.
So you're gonna
I
bring
mean,
it.
that makes sense. It could
I am not bringing my 1965 snare. Absolutely not.
At our, so Hagen's got this new vintage snare. And
My
they just,
first vintage piece.
what
Also,
is it? Go ahead, say what it is.
it's a 1965 Ludwig Acrolite.
So Hagen got it. He's been playing it at shows recently, asking you like, how does it sound, etc. Right before we were about to, start moving our stuff on stage this last Saturday, Hagen goes, "I'm gonna tune my drums," and I was like, "Ah, what a funny joke." And then I hear him behind me start tapping it and hitting the snare, and I turn. I was like, "Are you actually fucking tuning your drums?" And there was this moment of like, "Yeah, motherfucker, it's vintage." And I was like, "Oh my bad, I forgot that you got that. My bad."
It's also so fucking sensitive. I had to tune it mid set because it got like super loose. The lugs got really loose while we were playing.
Mike, do you ever have that with any of your gear? Are you playing vintage gear, or is it just like it is acoustic, like nice stuff, new? Built?
New.
Okay, good on you.
That sounds so much easier.
It is.
Yeah, it is easier.
Did I tell the story of when I saw Brian Jonestown Massacre last year?
Mm-mm.
Is anyone aware of this band?
You've mentioned them. That's
Vaguely.
the awareness.
It's like one of those like 60s, 70s revivalist bands. Like I'm not a huge fan of them, but like had a friend going, so I was like, cool, I'll go. They played like a 3-hour set, way too long. And then I would say maybe an hour of that was tuning, and they did have a guitar tech, and it was because they mentioned it because they kept bringing out new guitars every time, and I was like, those are like vintage guitars. Those are like, I was like, first of all, why are you traveling with those? Those are like, do maybe one, but the amount that you had, like the weather was definitely affecting them, and they were tuning for so long. Like I think they tuned for maybe like 3 minutes before one song, and the singer goes up, he goes, well, the vintage sound, you just can't beat it. And I was like, oh, you definitely can. You definitely can. This sucks. I'm really mad. Yeah.
Yeah. The reason I got that snare is I don't have any like nice snares, and I was like, this is like, and the price was right, and I was like, this is great, but I'm not gonna like do big travel. I'm not gonna like tour with it. I'm not gonna do anything. There's no reason to do that.
See, I don't feel that like I don't have any vintage gear.
Yeah.
Likely never will. But I would say that I have expensive gear, and my like whole thing with it is like we have friends who will buy guitars, and I'm sure Mike, you have similar friends this way who will just buy like really nice stuff, and then like you'll ask them like, oh, like why aren't you playing that? And they're like, I'm so scared to bring it somewhere. And she's like, why'd you buy it?
Yeah.
And like to each their own, but for me, like I have my guitar like that I primarily played with, and I have like nicks on it and scratches, and like I'm not saying that's like part of it, but like it kind of is, and it's also like I bought it to play it.
Yeah.
I won't bring it to like specific things, but like
you might be more cautious about it, but you're not gonna like keep it in a case and just look at it.
yeah, like I'll do it for like weekend runs, but if we were doing like a big month-long tour, it's like yeah, sure, I'll bring my like Telecaster where if like God forbid something happens where like it just snaps, it's like well I can replace the neck. It's like hey, they make more Telecasters, I hear.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
They've actually stopped recently.
Yeah.
There's a Telecaster ban happening right now.
God damn it. First TikTok, now the Telecasters. Man, imagine that. All the people like being like, take away their TikTok. I don't give a shit about Gen Z, sorry, new Mike.
Oh.
Fuck. New Dave. I almost said new Mike. New Mike. But, imagine that.
Halfway through the episode.
It's like, and we're taking away your Stratocasters.
Not my Stratocaster.
Not the John Mayers. Fuck, imagine
I don't think
that.
that would work that way.
Yeah.
I don't think they care.
There's a small group that would
Very
care.
small group.
Yeah, there's a small group of people that would laugh at people for TikTok getting banned and then be very upset that the Telecasters got banned.
Well, they would get mad about anything being banned.
True. I guess that's fair. Yeah.
You can ban things they don't like.
Yeah. The tuning thing, after I tuned, I then was fixing one thing on stage, and we got on stage, and the drummer for the band before us was side stage, and he went, "No one cares!"
Well, egg on his face, because I kept trying to get him to skate with me after the show, and he wouldn't let me skate with me. I had my skateboard. He was just like, nah, dude, that's gonna fuck my shit up. I was like, I've seen pictures of you doing like 18 set, like fucking stairs, like these amazing pictures that I would never consider doing. And he wouldn't skate with me in a parking lot.
Yeah. No one cares.
I don't think I like him. Adam, did you see that video that Daft Punk put up?
No.
Daft Punk put up a Daft Punk.
That pump up.
I thought they were done, right? They're
Yeah.
never going to release anything ever again.
Dude, I swear, between 2013, which is I think when Random Access Memories came out, to
Oh, yeah. I guess
now, like to when they broke up. So it's been 10 years, but like from 2013 to Random Access Memories, we got like those 2 songs they did with The Weeknd, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then now that they're broken up, it's just like they're fucking just like they've opened up the faucet. It's just odd the amount that they're releasing.
Just printing money.
So they put up, it's like the 10-year anniversary of Random Access Memories, their last album, and there's a song on it called Fragments of Time. It's not the last song, but it's towards the last half of the record.
It's second or third to last, maybe. It's at the end.
And basically, it's the guy who sang Face to Face on their Discovery record. He came back to like sing on this song, and they wrote it together. So what it is, basically, I saw all these articles that was like Daft Punk puts up a video of them, the writing process of this song. I was like, oh my god, these guys are like notorious for like, you know, like being very shrouded in their like their persona,
There you go.
much like our good friend Mike Derby here. And damn, that didn't get any laughs.
New Dave.
But they put it up, and I was like, I was at work at the time. I was like, oh fuck, I can't wait to watch this. I'm gonna put this up on my big TV, and I'm gonna see those French guys just fucking the French robots just go for it. It was the biggest letdown ever.
It sounds really boring, honestly.
It
Having not seen it.
bummed me out so much because it's not a like they call it a video, but it's not. It is basically they have like a tape machine, and it's like zoomed out 100%, and then just slowly over the 10-minute video zooms in on like the dial. There's no video at all. All it is like audio recording of like you can just hear them like, oh yes, and then at this part you do this, and this very funny. And then like the guy's like, yeah, and I remember doing this that one time. As I said, I have no sympathy for the French people.
I still
so
give you a
I'll take
cancel
it.
buck for
Yeah,
it.
it's okay to. Yeah.
These are cancel bucks, Mike.
Cancel bucks.
Yeah, so be careful. We're watching out for you.
I don't know if we'll give a guest a cancel buck. Oh, we gave my brother one.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think actually we gave my brother multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's German. Yeah, so it was such a letdown. It bummed me out. Like, I got like 2 minutes through, and I was like, I think I'm going to turn this off. And I did, and then I thought, you know what, I owe it to
Maybe
myself,
you should see
dude.
the whole thing.
And I did, and I was like, it doesn't get better. It's not, you can't even like follow what's happening super well. Like people like were writing articles and they're like, oh yeah, you can hear like the wittiness of like one of the Daft Punk guys, and it's just like, no, you can't. It's just like some people talking, and like in the background they've looped the song.
I guess I just don't care enough about that at all. Like I like their music and everything, but I don't care about any of this other stuff they're doing recently.
Yeah,
About like, look how great we were. It's like, okay.
release music or shut
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got one more thing. Do you have any news, Dave? Fuck. Can we get another one, please?
Try again. No, yeah, you have to cancel that.
Yeah, one or the other. Can I just take the cancel box? I don't want to try again.
Yeah, I've got.
I don't want to try.
Just local news. It's did you see
E3's canceled?
Well, no, it's actually bigger than E3 being canceled, but
I
it's
don't fucking believe that.
local news. So it's not Denton local, but DFW Arlington. They gave Taylor Swift the key to the city.
Oh, that's why Dave's not here right now, right? Because he's really tired. We're gonna do a whole we actually went to all 3 shows.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And sorry you didn't get to go, Mike.
Oh,
but
that's okay.
like
When she comes back, you'll be new Dave, so then
Yeah.
you can come.
New Dave.
yeah, we don't get. It's
That's
a
how
new
you get
Dawn.
into
It's
the
a
door.
new Dave. We don't get tired. I mean, like we danced. You know, we were feeling 22, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Dave got really tired because he's like 50 years old.
If you think that anything's gonna piss him off, it's that.
In the chat, I'm sorry, Dave, old Dave.
Yeah. So Arlington gave Taylor Swift the key to the city.
Why?
I
And
thought you were
then-
gonna say
She's
Dallas
not
did.
from here.
And then they also temporarily, don't know when it ends, but they temporarily renamed one of the streets around the AT&T Stadium Taylor Swift Street or Taylor
That's
Swift Way or whatever.
fucking lame.
You're right. This is
Arizona
bigger than
renamed
E3.
it.
You're right. I was so wrong.
It's bigger than E3 being canceled.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
That's
such
crazy.
a lame, half-ass way to do that after Arizona renamed the whole city.
Yeah, I also thought it was really interesting that
The
they.
bowing down to Taylor Swift that's happening.
Oh, it's really weird.
and I'm a fan, but that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't see this in the article. I saw it in an Instagram post, so I don't know if it's for sure. But apparently, they also Arlington is starting a Taylor Swift Day as well. So, yeah. Arlington loves Taylor Swift.
Well, Arlington loves money in the
Yes.
states.
Are they gonna do that?
Without
Yeah.
the houses they have.
Are they gonna do this to Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks when they come through?
No.
Why not?
Well, I mean, they
man?
got a lot of streets. They could rename it.
You're gonna be like driving through the parking lot and all
Yeah.
the like
Each
the
row
all
is
each
named after somebody who's played there.
your GPS is gonna be like, now turn on Taylor Swift Way, now on Stevie Nicks Drive.
They're like being at like Hollywood Studios and Disney.
Yep.
Hmm.
What?
Jesus
I
Christ.
think you broke the audio.
Oh, I did. I did break the audio recording.
I don't know.
Oh
how.
my God. That's
Well,
alright.
I'll
We're
I'm
having
it'd
a
be
good time
fine.
regardless.
It'll work.
gonna just press this now, and we'll see what I have to do about that later.
Yeah. Sorry, Future Hagen.
Yeah.
Do I have to write that in here real quick?
Sorry, Future Hagen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did I touch my shit?
You must have.
I must
You're
have.
really animated about the.
But how would
naming
the tracker kept moving.
Oh, I know. I saw it. I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know what's going on.
Well,
That's so strange. I actually could just like grab the audio from this.
Yeah, that's better.
I'm
Okay.
problem solving
Well-
with the audience.
Okay, well, there's that, but and just in case you have troubles doing that, I'll throw you a bone here. We were about to wrap up, but I got one more thing we can talk about. So recently, I want to say it was Jamie Lee Curtis was in an interview, the actress. So this is
Is there a
She's
different?
not
Is there a
supposed to be
different
the other
one?
I don't know. I'm just I need people to know that I know things. I'm a man. Yikes.
I don't have like a laugh track, man.
But basically, she was like in an interview, and I think she was talking about like how she was like going to Coldplay or something soon. Maybe I've got this all mixed up. But she mentioned she was like, fuck night shows. I'm done with night shows. They need to like these big touring acts need to start having matinee concerts. What do you guys think of that?
She's
Would
old.
you be right? But like, hey, let's take a
Nothing
little
against her, but like that's when you know you're old.
take a little bit of, I want you to take a little bit of your emotion out of this, Adam, and think about, is that something that like you would genuinely want to do? Because I go to matinee musicals all the time. That's
Sure,
honestly my preferred method of going to a musical, because I can go, my first middle of my day is over, and then I go get dinner and have like a different night. Is that something you guys think you would be into? I'm not saying eradicate night
I don't
concerts,
know
but
for,
an option.
Like me personally, but I think it would make a lot of sense for large enough artists to do that.
I think
It makes more sense to just play multiple days when you're on tour than a lot of artists just do like, hey, we're just playing one single show in this
Yeah.
giant city. Like,
I think it makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense because there's a lot of people with like with day jobs that they're allowed to like stay out late enough to see a night show if it's like on a Tuesday night kind of thing, right?
That is the one thing of like, it wouldn't work outside of a weekend for most shows.
Or like let's say you need to be at work at 6 a.m. on Monday and you don't want to go see a show on a Sunday night that starts at 8 o'clock.
But they have a Sunday afternoon one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean I don't know if it's right for me, but like that's a cool idea.
Yeah, I just wonder if that could ever gain steam.
I think it would have to be with the right artists.
I mean,
Good.
we are seeing like we've talked about this before. We're seeing like a resurgence of bands play multiple days.
Yeah.
And like go back to the way it used to be, where like you go to the city and you play as many days as you can like book.
Yeah, you just
basically.
keep tacking them
right.
on.
Yeah.
You sell it out, I'm
Well,
gonna add another show.
A couple bands could probably get away with doing that for having a show like 5-6 hours before their first show or before the actual show they're more excited about, maybe, because I think that's probably a big aspect for a lot of maybe I don't want to say older musicians or bands, but where like part of the thing for them is like they're having a fun time, they're having a great time, they're drinking and whatever. Can't do that at noon and then do it again at 7. It's not gonna work.
I feel like
I mean, you could, but it's not gonna go well.
I feel like in Vegas though, like some of those residencies, they
That's
do
a good
do
point.
That's a
two
good point,
shows.
though.
They
a
do.
night.
They do 2 shows.
It's
You're
not
right.
super early, but it's
Or
like
they do-
7 and 10.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's a great example.
that's early in Vegas. 10
True.
p.m.
And if you think about, if we're thinking about from the artist perspective, obviously it's like there's a lot of like getting somewhere and waiting, especially at the levels we're talking about.
Yeah.
So this could take away from that. Obviously, you're already there. You would have, as the artist, had to have already bought into this idea. So you're already there, and you're like, cool. I can play to more people if I'm selling out places, or I can play to different crowds, as Hagen was
Yeah.
saying. But then also there's the idea of most acts at a certain level and up during the daytime, it's not like they're just sitting there in their hotel room. They're doing press. They're either calling into an interview or they're actually doing a radio interview, that kind of stuff. I guarantee you all of those artists would be like, if I had a choice between a radio interview or a second show at like 3 p.m., they're gonna pick that. And
Yeah.
maybe you could also, in that same way, to like tighten up the show, get rid of the opener for the like the matinee show,
Yeah.
and then just have the opener play at night.
I mean, that would have a lot of appeal for a lot of people. I think.
That way it's quick.
Mhm.
That would also probably really that would work with budgets a lot too. That way
Yeah.
they wouldn't have to pay the opener for like 2 shows.
Which
Not
I
saying
like.
you
I feel
shouldn't,
bad
but-
now because like we're all in opener bands, so it's like
Well, no,
I feel
that,
bad suggesting this.
I mean-
Once again,
I mean-
Duolingo, you cannot have my
You would
ideas.
still get to be the opener for the same band, just just the one show. That
Yeah.
honestly is probably more appealing if you're the opener.
And you might be able. Here's it, even on that opener side. What's nice about that is it does seem like on a lot of these tours, opener plays and it's like then they pack up and then they're getting to the next show. They're not sticking around a lot of the times for the headliner. Maybe this is a good way for them to get to hear the headliner.
that's
Yeah.
very true.
I don't know. I think I would go to them if they were an option. I don't know if it'd be my preference. I don't know. Like, do you guys think like nighttime is really part of like music, or is that just kind of something we've like
I think it depends on the artist.
societally did?
I think it like
What's a daytime artist?
that's a good question.
Coldplay.
I think that like not necessarily like
Wiggles.
nighttime is a part of music, but more like maybe the other way around. Like when you think of like nightlife, music is a part of that. When you think about
Yeah.
music, it's not
Yeah.
necessarily nightlife, but
Right.
when you think about going out and like to a downtown area, you might assume that you will hear music when you're in a downtown area at night, kind of thing. So
I think we've all been to music festivals here.
what?
What? There's a point.
I don't think you've been.
No, that wasn't.
You and
that
I have
wasn't.
been to a festival
yeah,
together.
yeah.
You two, I don't know if you were together, but you went to the same
Yeah.
one.
We were together.
I don't know about
He
Mike.
drove us there.
But I think most of us have been to music festivals, and I guess thinking on that does that play a part during the like if you're there all day, the earlier bands, does that play better to you? Does it play maybe not better? Let's take that out of it. Does it play differently seeing somebody at 4 p.m. that you're really into, and seeing the 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. headliner?
I think that honestly for me has to do with just how much I like the band.
Andrew Bird, was that in daytime? I want to say it was.
That was like when that was when like the sun was
Sun
going down.
That was I hate that. That's my worst hour.
I thought
of the day.
I thought that
it
was
makes
I thought
me
it was,
feel like shit.
I thought it was perfect for the Andrew Bird set, except
Yeah.
for all the guys that were talking in front of us.
No, those guys were fine.
They were fine.
They were fine. We've talked about this. I'm trying to think of like at that festival, like what day. LL Cool J.
That was great.
That was so fucking good.
Dude, that was the best way to get hyped up. That's why we
Dude,
have the air horn.
Yeah, we've
That's-
told that story.
yeah.
I really hope this was like at 10 a.m. or something.
No,
It was
no,
like
no.
1 p.m.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
Like, and he was on one of the main stage. He was on the same stage Radiohead was about to play. So it
That's
like
still so weird.
LL Cool J
Yeah.
was like I've listened to like the hits, you know, Mama Said Knock You Out, all that kind of stuff. Don't Call It a Comeback. I love that music. It's super fun. I would never pay ticket price to go see him, but when we were there, I was just like, holy shit, this guy is commanding the audience, and he's leaning into because it was just him and then like a DJ,
Yeah.
and the DJ was just spamming that, "Brr, brr, 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 brr," and he was just like, yeah, and like Hayden and I were like,
That
we,
was his job.
we didn't stay the whole set. I think we stayed like 15 minutes, and I was just like, honestly, perfect.
Yeah,
It was like
yeah.
taking a shot. It was just like it is
Yeah.
a means to an end.
we were
Or
good
an
to go.
espresso. It's
Yeah.
like just like I need to get somewhere, and this guy fucking did it.
Yeah.
In the daytime, and I think he would have had the same effect at night.
Yeah, but I wonder how effective like wanting to see 15 minutes of music at night is, because you want people to stick around at night, because that's when like you'll make a lot of money.
In the chat, we're getting agreed that daytime bands, it doesn't take away from their performance. So I don't know, man. I don't think it's that bad of an idea.
No.
I think there is the natural response of like, shut up, you're old, because
Yeah.
it came from someone who is old.
Well, and that's also just a general thing about like most. Not this isn't obviously universal, but a lot of the cases is like people who are older have jobs where they have to be up earlier and whatever,
Yeah.
or they have kids and families they got to deal with and stuff. They don't want to go to late shows. Like if you go see a movie at 10 p.m., there's probably not going to be that many old people in there compared to earlier in the day when they like got off work and they want to go see a movie before they go home and
Yeah.
have to go to bed at 9 because they got to wake up at 6.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of it for a lot of people, and I think that's, it'd be good if they could go see more stuff.
But yeah,
And like to your point, like doing like musicals during, an earlier time during the day, those are full and
Yeah.
just as busy as the other ones.
nobody bats an eye at that idea. And like, my niece was super into the Wiggles like when she was super young, and like the original Wiggles like lineup did like a last tour, and like each day they were playing like 2 to 3 shows, and it's just like with certain acts like it's already it's built into their like model, like so like this idea of like I'm trying to think like what's the band that like we could think of that would be like, well, don't see them at daytime. It's got to be like some like really aggressive, like would you want to see Motorhead in the middle of the day or something like that. I can't think of any right now that I would just be like, yeah, this is weird. Maybe no, those EDM festivals are in the daytime too. I was gonna say maybe like seeing like one of those like really party bands, because like I don't typically feel like partying in the daytime.
Well, and you talk about like metal. I mean, like Warped Tour was
Yeah.
was like all during the day, and that was just a bunch of moshing in the heat for hours.
That's
so,
kind of where my brain went.
yeah.
I'm struggling to think of like bands. Like there are some bands that have like a visual aspect, like the band Russian Circles, which is kind of metal. They play with all the lights out on stage, and they have fog lights behind them, so it's just a silhouette. And that's part of like they do it at every show. So like it would be a bummer to
Yeah,
see
there's-
them without that, but like the music's still great regardless.
So there's a lot of like production, like visual production issues you'd have to like figure out or not be able to do during the
Yeah.
day.
And I guess we are
Yeah.
kind of leaning into the like, only outdoor shows. Like you can play indoors in the dark at
Yeah.
2 p.m.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, that's the theater.
just gotta have nice shades, the
Yeah.
little blackout curtains.
That's the theater.
I don't know. I think it could happen. It won't,
Yeah.
but it could.
Yeah. it does. It
I mean, the
it
only
would
way
cost
really
more money.
would be the acts who can afford to do it.
Yeah, it would cost
Who
more
can
money.
afford to do that, and like I
Yeah,
don't
what
know.
level
Actually,
does this
I don't
start?
know how this would even work with like the crews and stuff. They can't work more than a set
That's
number
a
of
good
hours.
point.
Too.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's a good
they
point.
probably would have
You'd
to
have to have 2 crews traveling.
And
Yeah.
depending on the
Well-
act, that setup and teardown is like
Yeah,
kind of intense.
Oh shit.
right. And then they got to drive to the next show. so-
Well, I mean, like they could probably do a thing where, like, they could have like a setup crew, a daytime crew, maybe like that's like part local, and then a nighttime crew that's their crew that does tear down. But it would be it'd still
Yeah,
be a
even
lot of
You
that-
could
So-
money.
set up for a
even
night
then, like,
show.
You
and
mentioned
then-
that logistics video of touring, like that
I don't
would
even
make
wanna
this
talk
even
about it.
more complicated.
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
Because what's common is the people who like set up the equipment and stuff and are driving and stuff. They're sleeping during the show.
Right,
Most people don't like think about that actively, but they're up there as soon as they're done.
right.
That gets a lot more complicated when you have 12 hours of the tour happening during the day.
I have that like video in my notes as like a link, as like a hey, at some point maybe we'll talk about
Yeah.
this tour logistics video. But every time I go to reopen it, I like get anxious because I'm like, oh my god, this is so stressful. The amount of work that goes into this one show. If the trucker gets sick, it's fucked. The whole thing's fucked. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. You guys got anything before we go into what we're listening to?
No. Let's
Okay.
say what we're listening to.
All right. We do a segment where we talk about what we're listening to. We'll let you go last because I forgot to tell you about
Okay.
this, Mike.
No worries.
I've been listening to a lot of Jeff Rosenstock, who he's just one of those like prominent like ska dudes. I need to remember his bands. He has a really famous band that people like. Oh, it's Bomb the Music Industry. But yeah, I've been listening to a lot of his solo music, which like it has the ska elements, but it's just more like just this like really catchy shit. Specifically the album Worry. That's what I've been listening to a lot. And he's got this really like, I think Hagen, you might hate it because he's got like one of those voices where it's like, this guy can't sing, but like the emotion's getting through.
Yeah.
And like whenever I'm gonna show you a song after this, specifically if the listeners are curious for what I'm talking about, listen to the song Nausea. It's so catchy, but it can be very like you can hear like, oh man, this guy's like struggling a little bit on it. This is the guy that I told you about, that you and Dave, that he has a song called Festival Song.
Oh yeah, you did tell us about this.
And
yeah.
the whole song is about like, he's like, oh, I play these festivals and like we're all like talking about like, oh, unite against the establishment, and like we're literally looking at like a bank sponsored skyline, drones are like doing our whole like the video, and she's like, it's kind of funny that that's a thing. So before he plays that song at festivals, he gets up and he goes, "This one's called Festival Songs," and then he says how much they got paid to be there. So like at the Pitchfork
That's
one, he
funny.
goes, he just goes, "We got paid $7,500 to be here," and then starts the song. I was like, that's so funny. That's the perfect way of starting that song. Yeah, so that's what I've been listening to.
I have been listening to a lot of stuff as well, but the one thing I keep listening to is the new Fall Out Boy, So Much for Stardust. We talked a lot about it when we went on the road last 2 weeks ago, right? Because the Zane Lowe interview.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks ago. The big thing we talked about with that Zane Lowe interview is that he was talking about how good the lyrics are, right? And the lyrics are trash. Like that's
Fall Out Boy,
yeah,
man.
yeah. Pete Wentz is a horrible lyricist. I don't know why he does this. I don't know why they let him do it. But there's a lot of really quintessential Fall Out Boy moments if you are a Fall Out Boy fan on this album. It feels really fresh in a lot of ways, and the guitar player who's not like a touring member of the band but still works with them, he said that this is like his favorite thing he's ever worked on, and I totally get it. The guitar is so good on the whole thing. Great album, really good if you like Fall Out Boy. If you don't like Fall Out Boy, you're gonna fucking hate this.
Which is why I've avoided
Yeah.
it.
I'll keep that in mind and not listen to it.
Yeah.
I've been listening to Black Country New Roads live at Bush Hall EP that started as a, I guess, video that they published a month ago, and Jackson sent that to me, and it was great. They released it on streaming. It's great.
It's like recorded over like 3 nights at the
Yeah.
same concert venue. That's why they're changing costumes. I
Right.
thought it was like
In
a
the video,
costume
you can
change.
tell on the audio recording, you can't really tell they're different nights, other than I think they reference different things.
Yeah, but even then.
But it's great. I know when I first mentioned their previous album, and then the singer leaving, I was like, I'm worried like they're not going to be not the same band or as good of a band, but they're great.
That was one of
There's
those.
nothing to worry about.
That was one of those episodes where I was in a hotel and I had just seen them.
Yeah.
Without the singer, and I was sitting there like, "No, Adam, they're great. It's okay." I think I immediately texted you when y'all
Yeah.
were done going live. I was like, "Dude, don't worry, it's good."
Well, I think this, if anybody's like thinking that, listen to this album, and I think that's really smart of them to put this out, because
Super unique.
it, especially to put it out on streaming, is like, oh, you have nothing to worry about. It's like, it is a different feeling band, but it still also feels very familiar.
Yeah, you can feel the connective tissue, but it's definitely different. They're changing vocals.
Yeah, and they're not afraid of changing it either.
I forget what that one song is where like the pianist is it's like in sections, and she goes chapter 1 and then like starts it, and I was like, God, that one gives me chills. Yeah. What you listening to, Mike?
2 things been kicking around a lot lately. Wilco Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. Gone back to that one for whatever reason. All-time favorite.
What's your favorite song on the album?
Oh.
Do you think of it that way?
No.
I can now open it up now that I asked that.
Radio Cure is amazing.
So good. That's the kind of like the crowd rock one, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think,
You
man.
can, you can call it that, I suppose.
I didn't like that album the first time I heard it.
Yeah.
I'm
You and a
embarrassed
lot of
by
people.
that.
You
It's
and a lot
weird.
of people. It's
Yeah,
weird.
the
It's-
record company didn't like
Right.
it.
Right. They had a whole saga.
Camera, that's the one I'm thinking of. That's the crowd walk.
Yeah, so good. So that and Gustav Holst, The Planets. I think it's the Berlin Symphony or Philharmonic or whatever,
Mhm.
the particular recording. Couldn't tell you why.
You like it.
Just was the right thing to listen to this week.
Kagan likes Fall Out Boy. You like whatever you just
Yeah.
said. Just quick before we wrap up the show and do plugs and everything. Has anyone here ever listened to Ryuichi Sakamoto? It's the composer who just passed away. And apparently, like, people are like posting about it a lot. And I was like, I feel like I know that name. I haven't listened. It would be a you thing, Adam. I started listening today, and I was like, whoa, Adam.
There might be something that I've listened to that they've done, but I don't know that it would be.
Yeah. Well, he passed away at the end of March, and it's just one of those. Apparently, he's like a Brian Eno type, where it's like he started out like doing this like electronic, like really like pushing electronic music, and then became like a composer. So, Yeah, sad to hear, but I was curious if anybody had like a definitive like, oh, listen to this, because I was like listening to a record he just put out this year, and which is like, oh, this is like really ambient, like that kind of like Nils from or Niels from.
Yeah.
I don't know how you say it, but kind of sounded like that. But then he has like stuff that sounds like Kraftwerk, and I was like, what the fuck? This is all over the place. So, all right, yep. Let's anybody got shit to plug?
Plugs.
Yeah.
Mike, you got any stuff you want to plug? Or you want to tell people where to find you?
Yeah, you can find the music Edgar Derby on Spotify, all your favorite streaming places.
Get the website.
We got
Edgar
the
Music.
website, edgarderbymusic.com. All the common socials, Instagram at Edgar Derby. We've got a couple shows coming up. What month is this? April?
It's April.
April, thank you.
Yeah.
April 21st at Rubber Gloves here in Denton. And then April 28th as part of Thin Line.
Woo!
I believe that's going to be at Harvest House, but we don't have that.
And that's like a free festival, right?
It is.
Yeah, it is now. Yeah,
And
it's been for a couple of years now.
yeah. So you just have to register, I think, and
Yeah.
you can attend all the stuff. Also, as part of Thin Line, one of my music videos is going to be screened as like part of the film festival
That's cool.
part.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're pretty psyched about that. So that's on Saturday, the 29th. That's at the Campus Theater here in Denton at 3 p.m.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. That's very cool.
Yep.
See my big face on a movie screen,
That's pretty cool.
Sounds like a dream.
right?
Will you be there, or is that
I
something? that you're
will.
like,
There-
"Ah,
no, I
don't
will,
know."
and it's gonna be like a Q&A sort of thing. I don't really fancy seeing my face at 20 feet tall, but
Yeah, I imagine.
we'll answer some questions for the people.
Cool. Moniker has a show coming up on April 14th in Dallas. We are playing with emo night. I've been trying to like wrestle with how exactly do you say that? Like it's
We're
like
playing emo night.
yeah, we're playing emo night. You can get your tickets. You can find it on our socials, that kind of stuff. So if you want to come relive those glory days, and then also see like the new bands who are trying to make the new glory days, come listen to us as well. So we have that, and then after that, at the end of the month, we will on what is it, the 27th, 28th?
Yeah, the 29th.
27th, 28th, and 29th, we'll be doing a Louisiana run, which I will give more information later, but it will be New Orleans, Monroe, then Ruston, Louisiana. And then we're going to fuck off forever. Go ahead.
Nope, that's not true.
You got anything, Hagen?
For anyone who's listening in Oklahoma City or has friends in Oklahoma City, I'll be in Oklahoma City with Old Dave and a band Matthew and the Arrogant Sea. We'll be at the Blue Note this Friday, April 7th. Kirsten White Trio is also playing, and apparently Kirsten White Trio is like Kirsten White's brother, I guess, is like legendary Oklahoma musician. So I don't know. It's supposed to be some really cool thing. No idea. But I'm excited to be back in Oklahoma City. I love the Blue Note. So if you are in Oklahoma City or have any friends there, tell them to come hang out on Friday, April 7th. It'll be fun.
Oh, by the way, before we wrap up, I don't think anybody who was at the show, the Moniker show, is listening. But if you were, we had 2 song requests that night, and that almost never happens. And when it does, it's typically my dad, which still means a lot to me. But like, it was really nice having 2 people that, like, one of them I know decently well, and then one who's pretty much a stranger to me, do that. So if you go to live music, especially at a smaller level, and you know a song you want to hear, request it. They may not play it, but it makes them feel really good. I felt amazing. One of the songs like we would have never played because it's an acoustic song, and I would have told the other guys to get off the stage. So being able to do that was really fun for me, but also made me just feel really good.
I don't know.
I
don't know if you could see him, but the person who requested that song was like singing along the whole time.
had no clue where he was.
Yeah.
Also, one of my strings was out of tune, so I was like, God damn it. I couldn't figure out if it was the E or the B.
Uh-huh.
So I was just kind of like avoiding those 2 strings.
Yeah.
But like, do that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Hagen.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it so much. If you haven't already, please subscribe, whatever podcast app you are using to listen to this. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe the video. It helps us a lot. If you subscribe while we're live, and a little animation pops up. It's kind of fun. If you're on social media, you can find us on all the social media, DFTA Podcast on Instagram. Don't Feed the Artist on TikTok. If you use Facebook, we're on there. If you want to say hi, you can leave a comment, DM us. Send us a long email about Jacob Collier.
It's a voice recording.
Yeah, and
They're very good at that.
Yep. And you can email us at newdave@don'tfeedtheartist.com. I want to reiterate again, you can literally email us at anything at don'tfeedtheartist.com. We will receive that email.
Make it fun. Do we, whenever that happens, does it tell us
Yeah.
Yeah.
what the... Okay, I never pay attention to that.
Yep. And he'll tell us what it is, so we can if you send us with a funny little thing, we can read that as well. So please comment on the YouTube video, send us a DM on socials, say hi. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here,
Thank you for being here, Mike.
thanks, Mike. Thanks, New Dave.
New Dave.
New Dave.
Thanks, New Dave.
It's a new dawn. It's a new day.